move around to, yes, to get everyone.
How do you respond to Erdogan? He said today that Sweden cannot count anymore on Turkey to join NATO.
Well, you know our position on Finland and Sweden and their NATO accession. You've heard this from the administration. You've heard this from members of Congress. We strongly support their NATO candidacies. Finland and Sweden are ready to join the alliance. They are ready to join the alliance because of their military capabilities. The long-standing security partnership that we have with Finland and Sweden that now goes back decades. We exercise together, we cooperate together, we share information together, but they're also ready to join the alliance because these are highly developed democracies. When it comes to what we've seen in recent days, we support freedom of association, the right of peaceful assembly, as elements of any democracy. But just as the Swedish Prime Minister said, burning books that are holy to many is a deeply disrespectful act. And he made the point that what is legal is not necessarily appropriate. We have a saying in this country, something can be lawful but awful. I think in this case, what we've seen in the context of Sweden falls into that category. We are also cognizant of the fact that those who may be behind what has taken place in Sweden may be engaging in an intentional effort to try to weaken unity across the Atlantic and within and among our European allies and partners. We feel that Finland and Sweden are ready to be NATO allies. We've voiced that consistently, but ultimately this is a decision and a consensus that Finland and Sweden are going to have to reach with Turkey.
Sorry.
Let's stay on the same subject and come back. Sure.
So the United States, we all know that said that it applies extremism in all its forms around the world, and that might be true, but from so many Muslim countries and international organizations alike, even the United Nations, come out condemning this extremist behavior. So does the United States condemn this behavior because it is going to send a pretty clear signal to the whole world, wider Muslim world? So if there's no condemnation from the United States, it's kind of a clear-cut message that the reaction might be a bit softer than expected.
So a couple of things. As I said before, we support freedom of association and the right of peaceful assembly as elements in any democracy. And one of the reasons Finland and Sweden are ready to join NATO is because they are advanced democracies. We've had our own challenges along these lines in this country. There was a famous incident not so long ago in this country that would fall in the under the same terms, something that may be legal, but that is profoundly disrespectful, that is profoundly, we might think, inappropriate, profoundly incendiary, something that is lawful, but in this case, awful. It is up to Sweden, it is up to Finland to interpret and to enforce their own laws, just as it is up to us in this country to interpret and enforce our own laws when we're confronted with something that a provocateur might wish to take on.
So in that scenario then, what's keeping the United States from condemning this act? Because I'm not trying to extract some kind of a statement from you, but what's the thought process at the State Department to condemn this or not? Because even the United Nations have come out and condemned it.
Well, again, no one here is defending what happened. And in fact, you've heard the very same thing from senior Swedish authorities. We are cognizant, though, that within democracies, there's freedom of association, there's freedom of expression within that freedom that gives people the right to undertake actions that may be disrespectful, they may be repugnant, that may be disgusting. I think all of those descriptors apply to what we've seen here. It's what we've heard from our Swedish partners as well.
No, just to follow up on that, what is the U.S. assessment on Erdogan's specific comments, though? Like, do you think, is the U.S. assessment that he's closing the door, or he's just very angry with what happened over the weekend and this is a temporary thing?
I wouldn't want to interpret President Erdogan's comments from here.
It's not interpretation. What do you guys understand?
Well, you're asking
What is
me,
your take?
you are asking me to interpret his comments.
Well, Washington would have an assessment on this. Like,
Our
is he
assessment,
closing the door
our
on this
assessment is
completely,
that
or-
Finland and Sweden are ready to join the alliance. We've made that very clear in public. We've made that very clear in private. Our Congress has made that very clear as well.